The Gauteng High Court has set aside former President Jacob Zuma's medical parole and says he should head back to jail. We're joined now by legal counsel of the Helen Suzman Foundation, Anton van Dalsen. The organization lodged an urgent application seeking to review and set aside the National Commissioner's decision. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. So you are cited as an applicant in court papers. Are you satisfied with what has transpired today?
Yes, we are happy. The application that we made to court to set aside the decision to grant Mr. Zuma medical parole has been set aside. And I think what is important, it's very clear from the judgment that the reason for this is that the Commissioner of Correctional Services cannot override the Medical Parole Board's decision. And it also made very pointed comments about all the irrelevant considerations which the Commissioner of Correctional Services gave to the court in order to justify his ruling. And I think quite apart from the fact that of the personalities involved, I think it's important to underline that this decision emphasizes that the rule of law specifies that everyone is equal in the face of the law. It doesn't matter how important you are, and that state officials, like in this case the Commissioner of Correctional Services, cannot make the rules as he goes along. He has to stick to the Act of Parliament and to the Constitution. I think these are very important principles, and they come out very clearly in the judgment.
You seem to echo the sentiments of the Democratic Alliance leader that we just heard now, John Steenhuisen, saying that the point of the litigation was to prove that the law applies to all. I guess maybe let's get your point of view in terms of the point of the litigation.
Yeah, I think this is a very important point of the whole thing. It's a principle I think it's an important principle in a constitutional democracy like South Africa, where people have to be able to trust that everyone is equal before the law. It's a very important principle, and we would not like to see that principle endangered.
Absolutely. So this is also not a cheap exercise. I wonder why it was so important to actually do this. You mentioned, that everybody is equal before the law. There are some sectors of society and a number of people that we've spoken to on the channel who believe that the courts are captured.
Captured by whom?
And that's just it. So somebody has stated, I guess that we had a little bit earlier on, that it's been captured by the president, citing a public protector report, for instance. And some factions of the ANC, actually.
Yeah. No, if you look at this specific case that we're talking about and the judgment, it's very clear that the Commissioner of Prisons of Correctional Services made a decision which is against the Act of Parliament, which provides for medical parole. And in his reasoning, he put in all kinds of completely irrelevant factors. Just to give you one example, he said, in effect, that releasing Mr. Zuma on medical parole will mean that the prison service doesn't have to pay for the cost of his imprisonment. It's a ludicrous consideration, and it's not surprising that this whole thing was set aside by the court. To talk about the courts being captured in this sense makes no sense whatsoever.
We thank you for your time this afternoon. That was Anton van Dalsen from the Helen Suzman Foundation.